Okay, good evening, leaders, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to our first session of this Masterclass, Global Leadership Network Masterclass. We are so excited to have you joining us in this conversation. It will be a walk where we will be able to have a very candid talk about leadership. It's a forum for us as leaders just to be able to sit down together in a round table and discuss various issues that pertains leadership in the environment we are calling a VUCA environment, a volatile environment with a lot of uncertainty, an environment that is quite complex, an environment that has a lot of ambiguity. Sometimes we make decisions that you're not very sure they will turn out as you expect. But as leaders, we have a responsibility to be able to steer our organization and to be able to guide our time, our people in all the seasons and in every environment that we find ourselves in. Those are the kinds of conversations that we're going to have together. And we believe that with the diverse experience that all of us are bringing on the table, including the content that we're going to look at, we'll be able to emerge better. We'll be able to be more sharpened. We'll also have tools that will help us sometimes to also make decisions in a more informed way, in a more strategic way. From this conversation, quite a lot of other things will be part of what we're going to discuss. We'll have some practical experiences. We'll have a few exercises to undertake, and all that is geared towards helping us as leaders just to be able to see how we can lift up our leadership. And therefore, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate your presence and to welcome you officially as we start this journey together. I request if you could just give me a text message, just send me a text message if you can be able to get me clear. I will appreciate that. Just confirm that we are communicating well and you are ready to go. I'll be glad to see your text message as we start the conversation. Yeah, thank you so much, Njeri Dhuku. Peter, thank you so much. And karibu sana. Olivia, thank you so much. I think that's a good confirmation. It's always good, it's always our practice, just to be grateful to God that He has given us an opportunity to be able to meet. And we acknowledge that just by saying a prayer. And then after that, we'll be able to move on with the conversation. Let's just make a prayer together. God, we are grateful for the opportunity that you've accorded us as leaders as we sit down together and have this conversation on how to better our leadership, and more importantly, how to experience a personal transformation that will translate to the betterment of the environments that we are leading. We pray that, Lord, you will guide our discussions. We pray for knowledge. We pray for wisdom. We pray, oh God, that you will enable us. Whatever we learn, we shall be able to put into practice. Whatever we learn, oh God, shall transform us. And we pray, oh God, for your enablement in the entire process. As we start this conversation tonight, we submit to you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Good. So you'll allow me at a certain point, I'll put off my video and then I'll be able to put my video on just for the purposes of clarity on the recorded sessions and also the content. So what we're going to do today, for the sake of those who might have missed out on the information day, we always start with a recap. We start with a recap. And then after the recap, we'll have an opportunity just to be able to also introduce ourselves, because we'll work together for 12 weeks. And therefore, it's important just to know who is in the class. The class is also part of networking. It's part of collaboration. And therefore, that part of introduction will be helping us just to start this conversation by knowing each other. So later on, we'll have that opportunity. But allow me just to run through the overview of what we discussed during the information day. On 23rd May, we had an information day, 2 hours, and we had a conversation. We were able to share the program. So I'll do a very quick recap, then we'll be able to move on. We are talking about becoming a global leader. It's about thinking global. It's about leading local, basically taking the lead where we are. And all this adds to one thing, transformation. That's really what defines a leader. If I'm a leader and I'm not transforming the environment, I'm not transforming that organization in terms of continual growth, then there might be a gap. So all the conversation and everything we are doing, the knowledge we are accumulating, the experiences we are sharing, they are geared towards helping us to be able to enhance and upscale our transformation in our leadership spaces. So that's the first thinking of this masterclass, that as a leader, I need to think global, I need to lead local, and I need to transform my environment. Thinking global is also part of stretching our vision. We like encouraging leaders that whatever product I'm packaging, whatever service I'm offering, I should be able to focus in the global space. Yeah, and this has been enabled by the technology. Nowadays, you might just record a video or you might give a speech somewhere with the thinking that you are speaking to those few people within your vicinity. But at the end of the day, you realize you're talking to the global world, because technology has given us a bigger space out there. Therefore, it's good for me to package myself, knowing that today I might be training not just people from Kenya, and which is a reality, training people from Rwanda, from Zimbabwe, from US, from Somalia, and many other countries. And all of them must relate with what we are training, and they can be able to identify. That's basically what we're talking about, thinking global, leading local, taking the lead. In this masterclass, we also believe, the second belief of the masterclass, that a better leader is a better life. For me to better my life as a leader, then the beginning point is to be able to look at the aspects of my leadership that I need to better, or I need to work on. I need to probably focus on what new skills do I need to acquire. So every change always starts with leadership, either at a personal level and all other spaces. So a better leader is a better life. And as we go, as we have this conversation, we'll be bettering our life with what we are learning, and then that will translate to other spaces as well. A better leader is a better family, is also a better community, is a better nation, and is a better world. This is what we believe, that the conversation will help us to be able to better our leadership and also to better our life. So just a note, let's always have our mics on mute. And then when we invite you to make a comment, you can feel free to unmute. If your connection is slow, you experience some slow connection, probably some fluctuation, you can disconnect your video, or you can disconnect sometimes and reconnect back. We recommend, when you're introducing yourself, you could put your video on for the purpose of just connecting with each other. So at that time, just feel free to put your video on if you are in a space where you are okay with that. We have looked at your expectations, quite a number of expectations. I'll just sample a few, but you can look at them on the screen there. One of the participants said he or she is here to get empowered with the leadership skills, to learn the various leadership skills and become an equipped leader, to learn from the best and share the best practices in leadership, to sharpen my leadership skills. Another one said to learn and relearn. And actually, this is the spirit of the masterclass. And all these expectations will be achieved in this discussion. To be a transformative leader, to meet and learn with like-minded leaders, very important. To scale up my leadership skills, learn, relearn, and learn where necessary. Just to sample another one, to optimize the leadership skills in me, and then to acquire management skills to apply in my new role. One of us is now working or has a different role to play, and therefore I think this knowledge will help the person to be able to fit in that new role. From our end, as Global Leadership Network, we believe that this conversation will help us probably to align or realign to a personal or corporate mission and vision. We'll really talk quite a lot about vision because that's really among the DNA, the component of DNA of a leader. So a lot of conversation will focus on issues of vision. We have a whole topic on that, just to help us have a very deep reflection at a personal level, and also very deep reflection at a corporate level on this issue of vision. We'll also expect that we'll continue to appreciate the critical role of leadership in driving transformation. Leadership is critical, and someone said, that's John Maxwell, that everything rises and falls with leadership. And that's how important this conversation is. And this masterclass will help us to appreciate that critical role. Sometimes we feel that we are not giving leadership the attention it requires. It's a conversation that should be more frequent. It's a conversation that needs really to have even in terms of resources, requires a lot of attention so that we continue to sharpen ourselves and also sharpen the people that we are leading with. So we'll appreciate the critical role of leadership through this conversation. Again, you will be able to have clarity in terms of some of the strategies, what we are calling the 5C strategies of a leader, and also the attributes of a leader, the 6 I's of a leader, and some of core principles of leadership. We'll go through this, and we'll have a deeper understanding and appreciate and also apply as part of enhancing our skills, enhancing our knowledge, and also a sort of attitude transformation, because that's really important in leadership. The other expectation is that all of us will be able to experience or have a more focus on solution-driven leadership. And this is the concept behind the project proposal, because we'll have a project proposal, and that will help us to focus more on solutions as leaders, and invite and encourage others. Some of the content we'll be learning, I'm sure, will be very important or very vital to the other leaders that we are leading. So we are focusing on ourselves, and also we are focusing towards the people that we are leading. So cultivate solution-driven leadership. Inspire a culture of reading and research. We'll have book review every week. Project proposal will require us to do some research, and that's just to build up and appreciate how important this is for to us as leaders. I know maybe already where you are, you might be working on all these aspects, on research, reading culture, but I think there is always a space to be able to improve what we are doing, and that is what the masterclass will help us to achieve. And then finally, is to appreciate the importance of networking and collaboration in driving growth and impact. We are saying that networking and collaboration is a new innovation in the market. The corporate world has really perfected this. You focus on your core areas, and then you are able to work with another entity that is core on a particular area, just to complement each other. And that's how, again, you're able to get to the global space, because you're able to have a very clear focus on your core areas. So just to appreciate this, maybe to enhance this conversation, that's what the masterclass aims to achieve. So the scope, and then some of the key aspects and the goals of the masterclass. One, this is a 360-degree masterclass. And that means in terms of where and how to apply the content is quite wide. We have 4 dimensions, and could be more. One, we can apply whatever we are learning at a personal level. in terms of personal leadership. The content also can be applied when you are leading an inner circle team. It could be at a family level, at a friends level. This content is also applicable at organization level. Some of the skills and strategies that we're going to discuss here can be applicable within the organization, and also at the community leadership, public leadership. So you will be filtering what applies where. What can you apply where in the course of this conversation? But we have a lot of focus on personal leadership. We'll have a lot of focus on that because that is the backbone of all of other forms of leadership. Some of the key attitudes and attributes and keywords as well that will be quite repetitive in our conversation. They include generational thinking. Yeah, generational thinking as a leader. I need to be a generational thinker, and that comes with so many other considerations. Global focus, be purpose-centered, the issue of vision-driven as a leader, strategic thinking, and also the aspect of transformation. So we'll have a very detailed discussion around these attributes, either in a topical or they could form a part of the discussions within the particular modules that we're going to discuss. Networking, collaboration, teamwork, creativity, and innovation are other keywords. The photos we are seeing are previous events that we have had, and at the appropriate time, we'll also be able to invite you when we'll be able to come together as leaders for team building, for networking, for creative experiences, and just to also explore the other opportunities that could emerge from this network. Learn and relearn, very important concept for us. Throughout the masterclass, we'll have a lot of focus on that as well. We expect to raise our leadership bar by optimizing our potential and also maximizing our impact. Basically, that is the real focus of leadership. How do I optimize what I have, the resources that I have, the gifts that I have, the skills that I have? How do I optimize that? And it's through the optimization of the resources that we have that we're able to have influence, either at a personal level or influence within the environment. And basically, that is what a leader is all about. And then how to maximize our impact. So at whatever level you are joining us, we believe that this is an opportunity for us to raise up our leadership bar. If you're at 1, we believe will get to maybe 3, 4, 5, or even 10 through the conversation that we're going to have in this masterclass. We'll have a lot of discussion on how to drive change. And that's really among the key issues of having a project proposal. How do I drive change? How do I identify the gaps that are out there, and how do I bridge those gaps? Yeah, so just a few thoughts towards that. When the country is in chaos, everybody has a plan to fix it, but it takes a leader of real understanding to straighten things out. There are many things that we believe requires to be fixed, but true leaders are known, or they emerge when there is when there are critical issues that require someone to stand out. Yeah. So in our organizations currently, and even within the country, a lot of things require to be fixed, and that's why the conversation about leadership and true leadership is very important. This is part of what will sharpen our skills, sharpen our thinking, and also help us just be able to identify the opportunities that we can come in and provide a solution. If the axe is dull and one does not sharpen its edge, then you require more strength, but wisdom brings success. So the masterclass positions us to be able to deliver more results, and also probably to even sometimes to use less effort, but be able to get more results and have more impact. And that comes with how we sharpen ourselves. These are conversations we have had with many leaders. Sometimes we are invited to speak to or to train leaders. And we always engage with the executive, and we tell them when we equip your leaders, you will realize that sometimes they will use less effort but be able to deliver more. Yeah, because they are more enlightened. Probably they have better strategies, and that positions them to use less effort but have more impact. And less effort here it does not necessarily mean working or using less time, or sometimes even not being as hardworking as they were previously, but it means basically maybe within the same energy or with the same time, they can be able to deliver more, yeah, and maybe in a more strategic way. Abraham Lincoln said if he had 6 hours to chop down a tree, he would spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. We always pose this question to ourselves as leaders. How much time do we use to sharpen ourselves? And how often do we pause to sharpen ourselves? This has to be very intentional because we have a lot on our hands as leaders, and it can be very, very easy to forget ourselves, especially on our growth, and not intentionally, but because of what we have to address each and every day. And I'm sure most of you, even being in this masterclass, is not easy. It's not easy. There is a lot that you have to address. But I like saying that this masterclass is for busy people, because busy people, they know how to plan themselves out. And when they commit for something, they are in. They will do it. Yeah. So how much time do we use to sharpen ourselves? Let's block these 2 hours every Saturday to be our time, just to focus on our self-care, just to be able to refill our cups, and then on Monday or on Sunday continue pouring to the leaders that we are taking care of, and the people that we are taking care of. So it's about sharpening ourselves so that we can be able to sharpen others and also be more effective in our leadership. The goal of the masterclass: 1, to appreciate the critical role of leadership; 2, to bridge the leadership gap. Yeah, we'll have a conversation about that. Enhance self-care and self-awareness, as I've mentioned already. Develop dynamic leadership culture. I said that we are leading in a VUCA world, a volatile world, where there are a lot of changes and rapid changes. And you can relate with what happened during COVID, where a leader has to make decisions on their feet. There is no time to think through sometimes. People are looking at us. And I'm reminded even the story of a biblical story, the story of Moses. Yeah, you are leading people and you have come to a challenge, and people are looking at you because they believe you have a solution. So how do I think on my feet and be able to ensure that we keep going? Yeah, dynamic environment require that we be very dynamic as leaders, and this comes with new knowledge, new skills, and also a lot of collaboration and networking. Cultivate resilience in leaders. As leaders, we hit a lot of bumps. Sometimes you hit a Red Sea and you don't know how to proceed. That requires high level of resilience. Sometimes we shall fail, or we fail, but we have to bounce back on our feet. You start a project with very clear plans, something hit, you have to make a lot of changes along the way. So resilience, very important. And even to finish this masterclass, we require a lot of resilience because of the kind of work that we shall be engaging in, and also the other roles that you have to fulfill as a leader. And then finally, the goal is also to promote networking and collaboration. So those are the goal of the masterclass. But above all, it's more of to drive change, help us to focus more on driving change. And I'll continue referring to the issue of the project proposal. I'll continue referring to the aspects of book review and many others. We really want to take that position of being the drivers of change. And I want to use this scenario here of this speaker who was delivering a talk to some audience, and he posed 3 questions to the audience. Question 1, who wants change? Is there something that you feel should be fixed somewhere? And I'm sure even us today, our hands could all be raised up because we feel and we know there is something somewhere that required to be fixed. Yeah. The speaker continued to the second question. Who wants to change? Because sometimes to make a change, we have to change ourselves. Sometimes to drive certain changes within our leadership spaces, it might require that I work on myself first, I change first, and then I'm able to drive the change. And you can see what happened. Who wants to change? Because change, even at a personal level, is not easy. And we say that we rarely grow in good times because sometimes we have to change, and some forces, some external forces, or a certain push has to be able to be deployed for us to be able to make some changes. And you see what happens. Who wants to change? And everybody, the hands went down, and I'm sure a lot of reflection on should I lift my hand or not. But that was not the worst case scenario. The third question was, who wants to lead change? Who wants to lead change? And the speaker was left alone. Yeah. And there is a gap in this area. There is a gap when it comes to driving change or leading change. Yeah. And we felt we could come in here as a Global Leadership Network Masterclass with this program, the Global Leadership Network Masterclass, among other programs that we are offering, to be able to bridge this gap. Think more on how to be able to address and lead change, or think more on how to bridge the gap in terms of leadership, in terms of how we are offering solutions to the identified problems or gaps within our environment. So that's really important for us. And we'll do this practically. We'll have a lot of conversation around that. And at the end of the day, just to be able to help us to offer a solution where we can. The structure of the masterclass, we will go through the four stages. Stage 1 is coursework. And coursework will focus on the manual, becoming a global leader. I'm sure among a number of you already have the manual. So the manual has 16 modules. We shall cover all the 16 in the next 12 weeks. Stage 2 is a weekly book review. This is also based on the book, The Purpose-Driven Leader. We shall guide you every week, the chapters that you need to go through and make a summary, just a brief summary, which will be discussed in class. Project proposal. We shall work together as a team. We'll put you in teams just to think through on an area that you can offer a solution, and then you will document and we'll have a presentation around that. And then finally, we'll have a course evaluation, which is an online personal evaluation and course evaluation. So the 16 module divided into 3 levels. Level 1 is essentials of leadership, a lot of focus on self-awareness, and then intermediate leadership development, how to redefine leadership and have a deeper understanding on leadership, and how we are defining leadership as a global leadership network. And then level 3 is core leadership competences. Here we'll have a conversation on the power of vision, the power of purpose, the power of character, the power of personal development, the power of mentorship, and also the power of effective communication. Level 4 is more of just inviting you either to come back and offer facilitation sessions, or even identify someone else that you could also invite to be able to go through the same. So as I said, the program will run for 12 weeks, only 2 hours per week. It will be purely virtual. The physical will only come at the graduation level or the team building that will be communicated as we continue. We have 4 cohorts that are running per week. Cohort 32 on Wednesday. We have cohort 33 on Tuesday, and then cohort 34 on Thursday, and cohort 35 on Saturday. So for you belong to cohort 35. In case you have some engagements on Saturday, and maybe you may not be able to participate in Saturday class, you can opt to participate on a Tuesday class or on a Thursday class. Yeah, just to be able to make up. But now this has to be prior, because already the Tuesday has taken place and Thursday. So you'll have to join probably like next week class if you want to make up. But you can let us know so that we can share with you the link. In terms of the cost, we say nothing of value comes without a cost. The first cost of the program is time. And I say time because we are leaders, and a lot of demand is there for our time. That will be the biggest cost for this masterclass. All the 2 hours and the time to also do the book review, go through the book review, and also some weekly reviews. That will be a major cost, and I believe this will really come with a lot of value. Others include the financial cost. Most of you have already finalized your payment. Authenticity in terms of how to share relationally, just to open up. It's also part of the cost that we shall pay during this conversation. I want to invite you to look at our purpose statement in the manual. So if you already have your manual, I just want us to look at this together. And probably just to confirm, Doreen, how are you? And I trust you have your manual now. Doreen, maybe you could confirm. Do you have your manual already, Doreen? And also I could check with Jacqueline as well. Jacqueline Dana, do you have your manual with you?
Give me some time. I'm not in a position. Let me just pick it and then I will let you know.
Okay, thank you so much, Jacqueline. Okay. Jerry Dhuku, you have your manual with you? How about Michael? Michael, do you have your manual already with you? Thank you, Jerry Dhuku. I see the confirmation. How about Michael? Can also do the confirmation of the chat as well. That will be okay. Yes, thank you so much. So on page 3, the purpose statement, we could look at this together because this is important. Yeah, just to read through the statement, perhaps no arm is vital to champion transformational reforms than leadership. While our nations or an organization resources may determine its potential, or even an individual, it is the leadership that ultimately unlocks that potential. It's the leadership that determines the success level of the nation, organizations, and its people. And leaders will agree with me, we might be endowed with a lot of resources at a personal level, or even as a nation, or even as an organization. But how we optimize the resources is dependent on how effectively we are able to lead in terms of managing and in terms of utilizing those resources. And we look at it even at a personal level. You might have capacity, you might have special abilities, you might have a gift and many other things, but many other resources, but how do you optimize those resources? That's basically what this statement focuses on. That is a leadership that is a turning point on how to optimize our capacity. Just to give an example, I always mention, I've written a number of books, but writing those books, the capacity was there. And even the skill, in a way, I could say was there, just needed to sharpen it myself more. But these books required some level of leadership to come out for me to be able to publish the book. And that's what I mean here. You might have capacity to do something, but you just need sometimes to offer some leadership, have a deeper understanding of what you have, and then develop it and then deploy it. Yeah. So the purpose of this leadership training is to empower individual leaders to activate and optimize their leadership potential and of those they lead. Yeah. The goal is to empower leaders, one as trustees, yeah, and then who will empower other leaders, even as we continue to enjoy or experience the personal transformation. This is in line with a biblical principle in 2 Timothy 2:2. The things you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses and trust reliable people will also be qualified to teach others. This is a principle that whatever we acquire as leaders will also be able to pass the same to others. Together, we can accomplish too much as long as we do not care who gets the credit. At the end of it all, it's about impact. It's about the transformation. It's less about credit, but it's more about the impact and transformation. So the goal of the masterclass is to equip leaders to be the drivers of change where we are. So to empower leaders, first for personal transformation, and then secondly as trustees who will empower other leaders. So that's our purpose as a network. For us to optimize the benefit of the masterclass, there are a few commitments that are important just to guide this conversation for the 12 weeks. And you can look at the commitment on page 7. Let's just check on page 7. Yeah, so my commitment as a leader, number one, I will attend the sessions consistently on time and prepared. This is important just to be able to optimize this time. Being prepared also in terms of preparing ourselves for what we require to do, to undertake, maybe their book review, their assignments. It's good to do them before time so that they will enrich our discussions. And it's not fair to participate in a conversation probably when we are not prepared. It may not really enrich ourselves or enrich the discussion. I will share my personal experience and maintain confidentiality of discussions. Number 3, I will respect and honor other people's opinion. If need be, I will objectively critique with a view to learn or enrich discussions. In the masterclass, we don't criticize, but we critique. We don't criticize each other, but we critique. We look at different perspectives and enrich the discussions. So there's no way I can say you are wrong, but I will share my perspective and see if we could align at a common understanding, because we are all looking at issues from different angles. Probably even your perspective could be the right perspective. So I need to understand you, and then I need to make a contribution and see how to enrich the discussions. And then number 4, I will be open to change, to learn and relearn. Sometimes you might learn a new principle, you might acquire some new skills in this masterclass, which will necessitate that you make some changes. So let's get into the masterclass with a very open mind. Be flexible in terms of change so that whatever we require to make a change, we'll be able to. Sorry for that, leaders. My network fluctuated a little bit, but I believe now we are back. I'm sure you can now be able to get me, Nancy. Okay, thank you. So we are looking at the commitments. Yeah, I will be open to change, to learn and relearn. And then finally, number 5, commitment number 5, I commit to share the knowledge entrusted to me to other reliable people who will also be qualified to teach others. That's one of our beliefs that we need to share what we are learning in different environments. So leaders, those are the commitments just to guide us and make sure we benefit maximally from this conversation. So you can proceed and write your name. You have a space where you can write your name, indicate today's date, and then your signature. Okay. And then we have the leadership challenge. In every module, we have a leadership challenge. Yeah, so after every lesson, we'll have a leadership challenge, something that we just need to think through. What do we need to do as leaders? So for the introduction, this is the leadership challenge. I commit to be a transformational, purpose-driven leader who not only knows the way and goes the way, but also inspires others to embark on their journey of purpose towards the fulfillment of their vision. Yeah, I commit to be a transformational, purpose-driven leader who not only knows the way and goes the way, but also inspires others to embark on their journey of purpose towards the fulfillment of their vision. So it's good to know the way, go the way, but I think now here we also having a focus on how to show the way, and that's part of the conversation that we're going to have. Every week we'll share a link for personal evaluation, and then you will be required just to indicate your name and then indicate probably in terms of your attendance. If you are present, you just say yes. This is just good for us to be able to track the progress of our conversation, and also for you just to also track your own progress. Timely attendance. If you attend the class before 8 or by 8, that's what we call the timely attendance. After, then you could indicate no, or if you are absent, maybe in terms of time that could be not applicable. Timely book review. We'll be submitting the book reviews a day before the class. For your case, it will be Friday by 10 p.m. So if you submit your book review latest by Friday 10 p.m., then your timely submission will be yes. And then after that, it will be no. If you don't submit for various reasons, then that will be not applicable. Timely manual review. We invite you to review the modules that we shall cover every week. For example, this week or today, we are going to cover the introduction module, and we're going to cover module 1. So we invite you again in the course of the week just to relook. Maybe there's something that will miss out on the PowerPoint, but you can be able to get more details in the manual. For this one, there is no submission, just for your own personal benefit. But it's good to indicate if you manage to do that. And then the link will also have the weekly challenge. Some of the weekly challenge will require you to give some input or some feedback. It will also be part of this weekly link. So we'll guide you on that. We have weekly book reviews. This will help us to have better conversation, especially when we are in breakout sessions. We'll have a conversation on the book review, some of the key outstanding lessons from the book review. So each week we shall guide you on which chapters to focus on. Between this week now and Friday, the focus will be on chapter 1 and chapter 3. We'll skip chapter 2. We'll make a very brief summary, and then we'll share via email, and we'll discuss that during the class. But we shall send this on the WhatsApp group. We shall establish a WhatsApp group after this for the purpose of communication. And then in terms of your obligation, what do we expect from you? And also, what do you expect from us? I think from us, we are set. We have everything ready. We have the content ready because we have used this even in the previous groups. We are working on delivery of materials in case you don't have the materials as yet. We have the facilitators ready to be able to engage. And for you, we'll expect that you focus more on results within our pressing schedule. just to be able to ensure that we deliver what is supposed to be delivered maybe in the course of the week. So we expect, let's focus more on results, delivering what is expected. First time I came across this quote by Robert Anthony, it really challenged me. You can only have two things in life, reasons and results. Reasons don't count. It's a big message. There's a loud message here that when we focus on results, it's a better optimization of time than sometimes focusing on why we didn't do something. So we challenge ourselves that let's just challenge ourselves to ensure we deliver whatever is required. Trading off, we are already trading off this time for something else. We have traded off our resources. I know you have traded off your time, you have traded your resources, and I believe life is full of trade-off. So let's accept trade-off this time so that we can be able to benefit and learn together. Consistency is very important. This is a game changer. How much we are going to benefit from this masterclass will actually be dependent on how consistent we are in terms of engagement and also in terms of attendance. This is what we are asking of you so that we can make the conversation more rich, and also it will add more value to us as leaders. We pray and hope that in the next 12 weeks, we shall all be like those two leaders up there. We shall be happy that we attended the class and we have made it and we have become better. And we have been able to successfully complete the masterclass. This comes with the resilience, as I said, consistency, and sometimes we have to re-strategize our schedule. We have to be very purposeful, and we have to focus for us to really get to the climax of this discussion. I want to pause here and again welcome you to Global Leadership Network Masterclass, which is one of the program offered by Generational Leadership Network, the umbrella that we are riding on. And we look forward to a very meaningful engagement. We look forward to long-term engagement, because the moment you finalize the class, that's not the end. You actually continue to be a member, continue to benefit from many other packages that we are offering, and also continue to engage in our monthly conversation where we have professionals sharing on various topics. So this is where you connect and then you belong. Yeah, you connect, you learn, and you belong. So welcome to Generational Leadership Network, and more specifically, welcome to Global Leadership Network Masterclass. So I'll pause here and just allow each of us some time, maybe a minute or two, just to introduce ourselves. You could mention your name, your profession, if you are okay with that. Expectations, I know already we have covered, but in case you need to add, you feel you need to add something, just feel free to do that. And then I'll request you to mention one unique quality of a leader. One unique quality of a leader that you treasure. Yeah. So that's the format. Your name, profession, expectation, and then one unique quality of a leader that you treasure. As I said, if you are in a position where you could put your video on, you feel free to do that as you introduce yourself. And in case you are not able to put your video on for various reasons, that's still okay. So I'll just follow no particular order, just on the screen how the names are. So I'll just mention your name, and then you could feel free just to unmute, then continue and introduce yourself. So I'll start with Peter, then I'll move on to Jacqueline, and then I'll move on to Nancy. So Peter will come first, Jacqueline will follow, and then Nancy. So Peter, it's my pleasure to welcome you, to introduce yourself, and also be able to know this team that we shall be working together with. Peter, welcome. Yes, Peter, if you're unable to unmute and introduce yourself. Okay, I think there might be a challenge on Peter's network or my network. I think we'll check on that. Let me move on to Jacqueline as I engage Peter and be able to establish what could be the issue. Jacqueline, greetings and welcome.
Thank you, Joseph. My name is Jacqueline Dana. You can hear me?
Yes, Jacqueline, we can hear you.
Yes, my name is Jacqueline Dana. I'm a teacher by profession, but currently working with Equity Bank. I'm doing financial education. And what else was I to say?
One unique quality of a leader.
One unique quality of a good leader gives feedback and values others. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Jacqueline. It's a pleasure and welcome to this masterclass. Okay, I've seen a comment from Peter, and Peter, we've noted. Peter, you could also feel free just to introduce yourself on the chat as well. That's also okay. So let me move on to Nancy and then Christine. Nancy, greetings and welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, good
leaders.
evening.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, Nancy, we can hear you well. Welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Nancy Murage. I am a medical practitioner working in a private institution here in Nairobi. I think my expectations is to sharpen my leadership skills. One unique quality of a leader, I think, is patience. Should have a lot of patience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Your expectation is well noted. The unique quality patience. Thank you. And I'm sure that will be a conversation, especially when we shall be working in teams. I think the level of patience and that quality is important. We shall also be evaluating that when we be engaging in the project proposal. Thank you so much and welcome, Nancy. Okay, so I'll move on to Chris. Yeah, thank you so much, Nancy. I'll move on to Christine, and then we'll have Jerry Thuku, followed by Michael. Christine, greetings and welcome.
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening, Christine.
Oh, thank you for confirming that you can hear me. My name is Christine Bore. I am a clinical psychologist by training and by practice. I currently work at Equity Bank, supporting the bank in various initiatives regarding health and wellness. I am excited to be in this forum because I've already had I have a colleague, and I am glad that as a group, we are very keen to sharpen our leadership skills. And one of the unique qualities of a leader I have learned over time is humility. And what do I mean by humility? You are humble enough to ask what you do not know, especially from people who are junior than you, and you learn with them and you grow together. So I look forward to the interactions in this forum. May need to become a better self to myself and to be a better self to everybody else I interact with at whatever level of my day-to-day interactions. So thank you so much for setting up the training. I am already excited. I might not be in the Saturday cohort because I registered on the last one. Should I miss it, I will always log in and listen. So God bless you, and let us help each other become better selves in our day-to-day interactions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. At least you have a space to make up classes on Saturday. just also to be able to engage with your colleagues, as you've mentioned. But they're also in other classes. We have quite a number of leaders from Equity in both Thursday and also Tuesday cohort. Otherwise, Christine, it's a pleasure and welcome. Yes, so I'll move on to the next person. We have Njeri Thuku and then Michael. Njeri Thuku, welcome.
Good evening, leaders.
Good evening.
My name is Njeri Thuku. I am glad to be part of this great forum, equipping leaders globally. I'm a supply chain professional working in Dedan Kimathi University. One of the very important traits which I find very important in a leader is the ability to influence and also integrity, which inspires even people to believe in themselves and to even trust that, and to be able to buy into the vision of the leader, because we know a leader like that has the interest of the people as well as of the organization in their heart. I hope to learn and relearn and also challenge myself to be a better leader, a better servant leader. And I thank you for this opportunity to be in this forum. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Njeri. It's a pleasure. I think leaders, you cannot, that diversity of professionals is also important, because now it means we will really enrich the discussion from different experiences, different leadership spaces, and also different experiences. That's really what now makes this class again very outstanding, because of that kind of a mix. So already I'm also excited just to be able to also learn from you as well. So we have Michael, and then we'll have Olivia, then I'll move on to Doreen. So Michael, greetings and welcome.
Good evening, team. So this is Michael Wahome, an IT profession, but I work at Equity Bank as a trainer, and I'm already excited to be part of this great team. And my expectation is really to gain more skills on how to become a better leader in every area as you've introduced, be it in the workplace, be it in the family, in the church context, everywhere, to be a good leader. A quality that I really admire in a leader is a leader who exhibits humility. I really value humility. And thank you, team.
Thank you so much, Michael, and it's a pleasure. We look forward to engage more in the course of this masterclass. Okay, I'll move on to Seth. Greetings and welcome. Oliver, if you can get me, please proceed. Okay, I think the volume seems to be a bit low, so let me just check with Oliver. Meanwhile, Doreen, greetings and welcome.
Good evening, leaders. My name is Doreen Musambi. I currently work with Equity Bank as a financial advisor and trainer. Though my profession Sorry about that. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Doreen.
Yeah, my name is Doreen Musambi. Actually, I practice supply chain management. I have a degree in supply chain and also a master's in also supply chain. Currently, I'm working with Equity Bank as a financial literacy trainer, and I'm glad to be part of this great team. My expectation is that I'll be molded to be at least an all-round leader and be able to show my peers direction. And then one of the unique qualities that I have is humility and also patience. So I'm hoping we'll work together, empower each other, and together we'll become great, all of us. Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Doreen, and pleasure. Welcome as we walk together in this journey. I see on the chat, Peter, you've introduced yourself, saying you are a teacher by profession. Your expectation is to be equipped so that you can equip others. One quality is about leading from front. A quality leader is the one who shows the way and follow it alongside the ones he is leading. Thank you so much, Peter, for that. Oliver, probably you could also introduce yourself on the chat. I will check on it and I'll be able to read it out. Otherwise, leaders, I think with that, we set to go. During the first session, we normally do a recap of the program, and then we have some time just to be able to introduce ourselves. And then we move straight away to our first discussion or our first lesson. I know we are all anxious. So we'll go through the first session and then we'll wrap it up. Then next week we'll now continue with the lesson 2 and 3. So I'll take you now through the session. I just want to let you know this is an open conversation. If there is something that has come out quite outstanding for you, just post it on the chat. Maybe something that you feel you need to re-echo it. Just post it on the chat. After the session, we'll also pause and just also be able to share our reflection. Maybe what are the key outstanding issues that you are running with as a leader. Again, being interactive, we might post a few questions here and there in the course of the conversation. Just feel very free to make your contribution in this conversation as we continue. So we'll move straight away to the first session. This is just to set the foundation. Yeah. So there are some key terms that are important when it comes to leadership. So we'll define a few terms. We'll define a few attributes that are important in the course of this conversation, just to be able to really help us to position ourselves to have a common understanding as we continue with this conversation. So I'll talk about the 5 C's and what we call the 5 C strategies of a leader. Then the 6 I's, basically the attributes. Sometimes we define leadership in various aspects. This will actually help us to have a more focused understanding and also definition and some key qualities or key attributes that really relates to what a leader or what is expected of a leader. And then I'll just mention the 6 core principles that we shall be covering later on. So lesson 1 basically will just give us a broad view of the masterclass and also some key concepts that are important that will be covered in this masterclass. We have a study method that we recommend. Either you are reviewing a book or you are reviewing the manual or you are even writing some notes from the slides. You could use this study method. We are calling it LACT. So L stands for learn, A is apply, C is change, and T is teach. In case you come across something or a concept or a principle that you feel you need to, it's a new concept. Maybe you're learning for the first time or it's new information. Just put there an L. It will remind you later on that is an area that maybe you might need to do more research or you want to study it more. So L is learn, where you put an A, it means this is an area of application. You've learned a concept, a principle, and you feel like, wow, I need to apply this immediately. You should start running with this. So just an A there will indicate that something that you have learned for the first time, or you have learned and you want to apply that. C is change. You've come across a concept and you feel like, wow, I need to make some changes. I need to make some adjustments. So a C will indicate an area that you need to adjust or to change. And then T is teach. You come across some concepts in our discussion and you feel like, wow, next week I need to teach my team this. Yeah, so a T will remind you later on that you committed yourself to teach that particular concept that you have learned. So above all, leaders, it's good to remind ourselves that the proof of knowledge and even the value of knowledge is actually in the application. So the more we identify areas that we can apply, the more this masterclass will be useful and also will be more impactful. I'll start with this story of JFK and the janitor. The story is about understanding the why behind what we do. Being in this class, I'm sure all of us have a clear why of joining the masterclass. What is the purpose of me joining this masterclass? That has come out also in the expectation. Yeah, it has also come out in the course of our engagement. Yeah, so the importance behind the why, that is what this story is all about. JFK, or John F. Kennedy, was the 35th president of US. And at one time, he was visiting NASA headquarters. NASA is known with research, space exploration, seen them landing someone on the moon, people on the moon, and many other ventures. So when the president was walking around at NASA headquarters, he came across a janitor who was mopping the floor. And he asked the janitor a question. What are you doing at NASA? The president is taking a walk at NASA headquarters, comes across this janitor, this cleaner, just doing his work. And he poses this question to the janitor. What are you doing at NASA? Probably some of us have heard this story again. And maybe for some of us, it could be the first time you're learning about this. But I just want to pose a question here. What do you think was the response from this janitor? What do you think was the answer? Yeah, I would invite some volunteers, either on the chat or just to unmute and just share your response. What do you think was the response from this janitor? Let me pause there and just get maybe some 2 or 3 feedback. What could be the possible answers that the janitor could have given in this scenario? Okay. So let me invite your response, either on the chat or if you are okay to unmute and just share. Again, remember, as we said, it's about sharing our various perspectives, and all of them are appreciated. So I see on the chat who earn a living, very true. He's working at the end of the day. Probably there is a paycheck. Yeah, so I'm here to earn a living. Thank you, Oliver. Let me take another one. Peter, you're saying for the purpose of all NASA employees. So spread it a little bit for the purpose of all NASA employees. I'm tempted to take 2 more just to enrich the viewpoints. Let me take 2 more. Okay, to earn a living for the purpose of all NASA employees. Jacqueline, you are saying, I work here as a cleaner. Very true. Practically, even the president could see. Yeah, actually, they found him at his workplace. So he was there just to work and clean the place. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. I will take the final one. Peter, you're saying, I think he said that it's because of the workers' environment. Yeah, you're rejoining to the other comment that we had shared. Thank you so much, Peter. Anybody else who may want to add your voice to this? Could pick one more, and then we now see what the janitor said. Okay, let me pick the final one. The final one. Who would wish to be the final one, and then we move on. Sorry for that. Anybody else who may wish to make a contribution on this? Or you can even continue sharing even as we continue. Just feel free to do that. So this is what the janitor said. And Nancy, you're saying ensure good working environment for all. Very true. This is what the janitor said. I am helping put a man on the moon. I am helping put a man on the moon. What an answer. And that's why this answer was actually documented. The janitor had a clear picture, big picture of the purpose of the organization. And therefore, he didn't limit his answer to what he was doing, but he projected the answer to the bigger picture of the organization. Leaders, this will be my first challenge to all of us. In terms of how clear is our big picture to ourselves and also across the organization. Because probably if you look at the hierarchy of that organization, the janitor would be somewhere probably very low. But he had a very, very clear understanding of the overall goal of the organization. The janitor understood the vision, and he didn't limit or discuss his role in isolation of the vision. He knew how his role was contributing to the overall goal of the organization. I would challenge all of us. Maybe this is something that we could even try out, do a test within our organization. How clear have we ourselves as leaders conceptualized and inscribed the vision in us, and how well have we also been able to help us appreciate, inscribe the vision in them until to a level that whatever they do is not limited just to the role, but they can also be able to look at it from the big picture. That's a challenge to all of us to reflect on, and maybe even to try it out within your organization. Just try to do it and see, are we really a team? Are we really working for a common goal? And is that common goal clearly understood by everyone? Okay, so I'll move on to the first definition of leadership, just to set the pace so that all of us are able to look at different leadership maybe from a common understanding. This is a GLN definition, our own thinking and understanding of leadership. So we are saying that leadership is influence through inspiration. So I lead and influence by being an inspirational leader. And how does that happen? By manifesting authentic self, being very authentic. Authenticity makes leadership so natural. It makes it not a struggle, but just about living my life in a more meaningful way to maximize my potential and serve my purpose, as you also help others to tap into their potential and positively impact humanity. That's our first definition of leadership. We'll have various definitions, but just to give us a space of a common understanding of what we are talking about, I wish that we just have this at the back of our mind, and the thing that leadership is authenticated by servanthood, and greatness is a product of servanthood. So leadership is about being influential, and that comes through being inspirational. And that comes from my authenticity on how I'm tapping into my potential, I'm serving my purpose, and I'm positioning others to be able to do the same. Before you are a leader, someone said this, before you are a leader, success is all about yourself. But the moment you become a leader, success is about others. It's about how I'm able to impact others, how I'm able to influence others, probably to be able to live a more meaningful life and also be able to make an impact. So that's our thinking and our definition of leadership. The second concept that is important as we set the stage is leadership circle of influence. And the leadership circle of influence is a very important concept because positions understanding of leadership at a personal level. So leadership starts from a personal level. It starts by becoming a better leader of self, and then it transitions to becoming a better leader of others. So in the leadership circle of influence, you will see the inner circle is about personal. It's about personal leadership, personal influence. Then we get to the private, that the close people to us, and then it moves on to the corporate, moves on to the organization, to the nation, to the community, and all the other. So personal leadership is actually the backbone, is the foundational of all other forms of leadership. And for us, I think this will be really important. We'll have a refocus, because in many cases, sometimes when you're talking about leadership, there's so much focus on the outward, but I think as we really want to have a more focus on the inward, a more focus of really what do I need to do? Are there areas I need to work on? This is in line with what Nelson Mandela said, until I changed myself, I could not change others. Because as I said, sometimes to change something in the environment might require that I need first to work on myself and adjust on some particular areas. So until I changed myself, I could not change others. And personal leadership is actually the backbone of all other forms of leadership. Mother Teresa said, if each of us would only sweep our own doorstep, the whole world will be clean. That's purely about personal leadership. If all of us will become better leaders of self, that will transition to better leadership in so many other leadership areas. So if each of us would only sweep our own doorstep, if each of us will just become better leaders, then the whole world will actually experience a better form of leadership. So the leadership circle of influence is about personal influence, positive personal influence, is about self-influence that now transition to all the other form of influence. This is again aligned to the leadership pyramid of influence. Yeah, so the difference here is just this is a pyramid, the other one is a circle, but the concept is almost the same. Influence grows from personal, community, organizational, national, global. Yeah, but again, I think leaders here, the focus is where does all this influence starts from? Yeah, so the pyramid places it at the base. So great leaders, they start by becoming better in terms of how to influence themselves, to tap into their resources, as I said, to optimize into their resources, and then they are able to get into the corporate and the community and the public influence, because people are attracted to them. Actually, we like saying that great leaders do not look out for people; they look out, and they're so passionate, they're so connected to their vision until they become attractive, until they attract people, until people feel they want to work with them, until people feel like, wow, I need to join this movement because of the level of impact. So it's about having a more focus, a more inward focus that helps us to be more impactful on the outside. So the pyramid again places leading self at the base, and leading self includes issues of clarity of a vision, either and mostly at a personal level, clarity of personal values, personal principles, that really positions a person to be in charge of his or her life, and also position the person to be more influential. So leading self, transition to leading others, that comes now with a positive influence, and also with the outward influence, what people are able to see and what now people want to be associated with, until they yield the authority to be able to work together with you. We have seen even this masterclass, people who have voluntarily given their time, voluntarily volunteering to share the information. It also speaks something that the program has positively influenced them or impacted them, so that they are able to share the information outside. So leading others, and then leading leaders. Yeah, so from leading self, leading others, we move on to leading leaders. This is about empowerment. It's about now leading leaders that are in charge of other leaders and that are in charge of other people. That's a bit higher level of influence. And then we have leading movements. Yeah, leading movements. The highest form of leadership is leading movements, because here someone is leading for a cause. Someone is intrinsically driven. There's something that is pushing that person from the inside. And these are leaders that sometimes you see them making a very drastic change in their lives, very critical decisions in their lives. And you wonder what really propelled them to make such kind of decision. Even the level of sacrifice, what really propelled them to sacrifice to that level. And we have a few examples there. I know there are quite a number of other examples that we could add to this, but we have just three there, just for the purpose of our reflection. We have Martin Luther King Jr., the level of sacrifice that we see in this leader, driving change. You remember the speech, "I have a dream," and the kind of revolution he brought in US. People are enjoying some level of freedom now because he sacrificed for their sake. We have Mother Teresa, who resigned from being a teacher when she felt it was the right time for her to transition and to be able to lead some community initiative. And today we see what has happened through her initiative. I remember reading her story, and when she was challenged on how she's going to feed millions in India with the final check that wasn't much. And she said that she will start with the first one. And by God's grace, she will be able to feed the world. And that is what we are saying is a push from within. A leader of movement is intrinsically motivated. Yeah. And sometimes they actually don't see the challenge, they see the opportunities. And others are seeing a lot of challenges and obstacles. For them, they are seeing the possibility. They are seeing how possible it is to feed the world. And she said, I will start with the first one. This was a very big challenge for me as well. When I read her story, actually, it also triggered the reason why we started this masterclass. And we said we shall start with one leader, and by God's grace, we shall equip leaders globally. And leaders today, we are here because of that first step that we were able to make. Today, we have equipped leaders, not just in Kenya, but not just in Africa, but globally, we have quite a number of leaders that we have equipped. And I'm saying this so that we can really appreciate that intrinsic motivation for leadership. We have another example of someone like the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela. The sacrifice of being in jail for over 27 years, and yet he still stood for his cause. That's leading movement, and it's about leading for a cause. Sometimes we say leadership does not start with the people, it starts with a conviction. And when we stand to that conviction, actually people come out people are, it's a byproduct. Yeah, it's a byproduct. People come because there is something. People come because there is something that requires them to enjoy, or there is something that is working even for their benefit. So leaders, I think it's important just to reflect on this. Leading self all the way to leading movements, see where we are. In this level, it's more of reflection. The one question that we shall all be asking ourselves as we discuss these issues is, where am I? And what do I need to do? What are the opportunities for improvement? What am I planning to do after this? That's the kind of conversation that I want us to have internally in terms of personal reflection as we continue with the conversation. We have the 5C strategy of a global leader. As a leader, there are 5 important important domains that we need to focus on to give us influence globally, have more influence where we are leading now, and also this can expose us to the global space. And this is also what we are calling the 5 C's of a global leader. The 5 C's of a global leader. They're very careful on these domains. What are they? Number one, the first C is competency. A global leader is very careful and very conscious about his or her growth, because knowledge is critical. Knowledge is key, especially when we have to make decisions. Knowledge is key, especially if we have to focus into the future. Knowledge is key if we are to manage people or to lead people. So as a global leader, the first C is about competency. How I take care of my growth as a leader, how I grow in skills, how I grow in knowledge, and how I grow in experience. And this could be either hard skills, and it could also be the soft skill. So growth. A global leader is a perpetual learner. Is a believe in continual improvement. That's also what the Kaizen principle is all about. It's about continual improvement. So the masterclass is all about this. How do we grow in terms of our competency level? Number 2 is clarity. A global leader is very careful in terms of clarity. And clarity here is in clarity of a vision. Yeah, clarity of a vision, clarity of how we communicate that vision, and clarity of focus. When you ask, or when a global leader, as a global leader, when I'm challenged to explain my direction, I think that should really be very clear. I should be able to clearly point people to what what is our big picture. Yeah, so clarity of a vision. Yeah, so I think this is something that we shall have a very, very, very detailed discussion around this, because it's among our first important role as leaders. Yeah, it's among the very, very important roles of a leader. Clarity. Remember that janitor, the clarity of, we are here to put a man on the moon. So if someone asks me, why are we here as GLN? I should be able to clearly say, we are here to equip leaders to be generational thinkers, to be purpose-centered, and to be vision-driven. That's really what we stand for. And all that we are doing is all about that. So the same should happen to all of us here in terms of where we are leading the organizations, and also at personal level. So clarity, very important. And then character, the issues of integrity. This is really what safeguards a leader. This is what makes a leader to be more selfless, yeah, and it's also what helps a leader to safeguard and be very authentic in terms of our leadership. So character is important. We'll have a whole discussion on that. And then conviction, what I stand for, the intrinsic motivation, conviction in terms of my purpose, conviction in terms of my value and importance, and how I need to be able to step into my space to be able to offer probably a solution or also probably to be able to be able to fulfill a particular obligation. So conviction also in terms of principles that I stand for. So as a global leader, the aspect of conviction, again, very, very important. And I believe in something, I can stand and pursue it regardless of external forces, regardless of praises, regardless of criticism, regardless of the obstacles. I can be able to stand for it. And then finally, we have compassion. A global leader leads by compassion, because we are dealing with the people, and people have different needs. People go through different seasons. People experience different issues, and I think that touch with the people is important. Yeah. So considering that it's people who comes first when it comes to leadership, then I think the aspect of compassion is important. This is something that we've seen missing in many setups. And that's why we'll have a conversation later on of managers vis-a-vis leaders, because there is what is priority for a manager, but there is a leader has certain priority. And when it comes to leadership, priority number one is about people. And that's why the aspect of compassion is really important. So leaders, these are the 5 C's of a global leader. So in terms of my growth, in terms of the holistic look of leadership, I need to take care of these domains. I need to ask myself, in competency, how am I faring on in terms of competency? What is my plan on this? What is my strategy on this? In terms of clarity, how clear is my vision, and how clearly have I communicated my vision? In terms of character, how authentic am I, and how genuine and how selfless am I as a leader? In terms of conviction, how clear is my purpose? Have I understood my importance, and how well am I fulfilling my obligation? In terms of compassion, how am I taking care of the people that I am leading? Am I connected with my people? Do I really understand what they are going through, and can I relate with what they are going through? So this a trigger to this conversation, and I'm sure within the next 12 weeks we really have a very deep, very detailed conversation around this. So that's the 5 C's. So I'll just conclude by talking about the 6 I's. What are these 6 I's? These 6 I's could be the attributes of a leader, could be the identity. How do we identify ourselves as leader? What really identifies us as leaders? And what are the key attributes of a leader? Yeah. What are the key functions of a leader? So we could look at them from different perspectives, but basically by the end of the day, it's what really describes us as a leader and what is expected of us. So the 6 I's and the 1 T of leadership, and the 6 principles that we'll talk about are actually anchored on these 6 I's and the 1 T. So what are they? The first one is influence. We've already talked about influence, and we'll continue to talk about influence. Influence is what identifies a leader. If I'm a leader and I'm not able to create some level of positive influence within my space, then that becomes there's a gap there. There's a gap there, and influence is not about a position. It's about because we say sometimes you might be in a certain position, but you're not the one influencing. So there has to be something that is really influencing, or something that makes you to be influential. And I'll connect that briefly. Then we have inspiration. The leader needs to be inspirational, and the inspiration comes from something else. Comes maybe from the clarity of the vision. It also comes from the clarity or from my passion as a leader, until people feel like, wow, you are inspiring us. You are so focused. You're so clear in what you are doing. You are results oriented, and many other aspects. And then intelligence. Yeah, how I'm able to grow as a leader in terms of knowledge. Yeah, how I'm able to grow in terms of skills, the freshness of skills, the freshness of ideas, the freshness of knowledge. That comes with continual growth. So those are the 3 I's. And I want to give you an opportunity. I want you to give an opportunity to contribute to the other 3 I's. What do you think could be the other 3 I's? Yeah, because there are 6. We're talking of 6. I've shared the 3. What do you think could be the other 3 I's? Any guess on the remaining ones? And on the chat, what do you think could be the other 3 I's? Okay, I see integrity. Njeri Dhuku, you are right. You've gotten it. Integrity. Oliver, you are right. Impact. Wow. Wow. Okay. Impact. And then the final one. The final one. They're also in our manual. The final one. So we have we now have 5. We have influence, we have inspiration, we have intelligence, we have impact, we have integrity, and then we have the last one. The last one is on page 10. Page 10 on our manual. That's where we have the answers, just to clarify. So in page 8, we have the 5 I's. The manual has the 5 I's, but the slides, we have 1 additional. So you have some spaces there to fill. And then the answers, at the end of each lessons, we have the answers. For example, for lesson 1, the answers are on page 10. So you can see on page 10 where we have the answers there. And that gives us integration is the last one. So the leader, when I'm talking about influence, now I can be able to connect my influence to something else. And that is the other 5 I's. So I can say, as a leader, I need to be influential, and my influence will be anchored on integrity, how I live a life of integrity. My influence, again, is also anchored on my level of impact. What change am I bringing within my leadership area? And impact here is about long-term change. Am I able to impact people positively? Am I able to bring significant changes for the good of everyone? That's also how I influence. So influence is also about intelligence, as I said. Am I growing? And does my growth contribute to positive impact to the people that I'm leading? Influence is also about inspiration. Am I an inspirational leader through my commitment to what I do, through my passion, and also through the clarity of the direction that we are taking in terms of the vision? Influence is also about integration. And integration here is how I'm able to lead a team that is well integrated, and also how I'm able to integrate with the people that I'm leading, how I'm able to associate with them, build a relationship, have a connection with the people that I'm leading. Yeah, it's good to be far as a leader in terms of projection, in terms of the vision. And we always say that a leader should have his or her head in the cloud, but feet on the ground. I need to look very far into the future, but I again need to come back and ensure that I'm working with the people, explaining the future to them until they're able to understand this future as we walk together towards that future. So integration is also part of how we influence. And all this adds to transformation. Okay, so I think with this really simplifies this understanding of the aspect of leadership, what it all stands for. I know we'll have a more conversation on this, especially when we'll be talking about redefining leadership. But from this alone, we can have a picture of this aspect of leadership and see the areas that maybe we have been fairing on, and also the areas that probably we also need to put some more focus on. So this leads us to the second definition of leadership by GLN, anchored on the the 6 I's, and the 1 T that we have talked about. So we are saying leadership is influence through inspiration, integrity, integration, intelligence to achieve high impact and transformation. Yeah. So me as a leader, I think what now gauges my leadership is the level of impact and also the level of transformation. So in the manual, we are using the word influence, or in this masterclass, as an acronym. And allow me just to mention this without really going to a lot of details, because it is there in the manual on page 8, what each letter stands for. The word influence, each letter stands for a particular aspect of leadership. So I stands for inspirational. As a leader, it's about inspiring the people, and this can be anchored on the vision, could be anchored on the 6 I's that we have also talked about, the issue of integrity, and is about to nurture. I need to grow myself, and I also need to grow other leaders. The function of a leader is to grow more leaders. Focus is about having a concentration, focus energy, focus resources to a vision for maximum impact and productivity. L is about learning and listening. A leader is a continuous learner, and also a leader is an active, deep listener. And then U is understanding. A leader needs to be caring, and also a leader needs to be courageous. So we need to have a balance of the two hearts, the soft heart and the hard heart. Know when to be what. I could use a biblical example here, the case of Jesus. One time you see him in the temple overturning the table, the other time you see him out there feeding the people. So it's about the different environments and how I'm able to lead in all these different environments. So I need to spend time to be able to understand in my environment, and then see how which is the best mode of leadership for that particular, the best style of leadership in that particular environment. Emotional intelligence, be in charge of my emotions, be in control of myself in the different environments that I'm leading, and also being careful to understand or to relate with the feelings of the other people, to take care of the feelings of other people. This are very fine. These are very important area, because in a number of discussions we have had, I remember one of the secretary was telling us, when the employees are coming to see the boss, they always have to ask her, what is the mood of our boss today? Yeah, is he or she in a mood that we can see him? And the secretary would advise, if the boss is not in good mood, he will advise, don't see the boss now. So I think it's an area that's really important, because again, sometimes I am there as a leader, and I need to create some demarcation. If something affected me at home, should it transition to affect my leadership at my workplace? Yeah, so about creating some demarcation and having that full control of myself. Emotional intelligence is a discussion that is quite common now. Then navigate, steer the team towards a shared vision. Yeah, I'm the navigator. I'm the person guiding. I'm the person showing the direction, and also ensuring that all of us have a common understanding of the vision. And then communicate. Yeah, once the vision is inscribed in the leader, the other role of a leader is to be able to describe it out until people are able to, again, visualize it. And then finally is exemplary. E is exemplary, being a model, modeling the way. It's about making leadership as a lifestyle. It's about demonstrating leadership everywhere, and knowing that we are the life, our life is the true test of leadership. Yeah, if really people want to understand leadership, sometimes they just observe how exemplary we are as leaders. So influence stands for that, is really a whole discussion about leadership. This is a whole talk about leadership. We could use the word influence to really talk about leadership in various dimensions. So later on is what we shall look at, the 6 core leadership principles. We shall look at the power of vision in leadership, having foresight and communicating that to the people, the power of purpose in leadership, instilling a sense of meaning. Why are we doing this? Why are we pursuing this course? When people understand why, then what is expected them to do becomes much easier. The power of character in leadership is saying integrity is the foundation for leadership. The power of mentorship and succession in leadership. How do we secure the future? We secure the future through mentorship. If I love what I've achieved, then the best way to protect it and secure it is through mentorship. The power of personal development in leadership, saying leaders are perpetual learners. And then we'll conclude with the power of effective communication in leadership, saying leaders are great connectors. Communication is about connecting. And as a leader, I need to always ensure, am I able to connect with my audience? So leaders, that brings us to the end of lesson 1. And every lesson has a leadership challenge. So in lesson 1, we shall evaluate ourselves based on the 6 I's and the 1 T. How are we faring on? Maybe you could do this in relationship to your work environment, or if you're in business, the business environment. How influential are you? Do you rate your influence to be very high or very low? And again, all the other I's. If there are areas that you feel you're a bit low, you need to, again, to think on how do you improve on those particular areas. That's what we're calling an action plan on areas of improvement. So this one will be in the link. I'll share a link. It will have this. So it will just a matter of clicking, selecting the appropriate answer, and then you will share you will capture a few comments just to be able to help you reflect on how to improve. So that brings us to the end of lesson 1, as well as the overview of the program. And I trust the first session, probably you have a few observations, you have a few take homes, you have a few points to think through. You have something just to reflect on, even as we start this journey. The masterclass will encourage us to have a lot of reflection, personal, inner reflection, because it's from the reflection that actually true change will emanate. So I want to post their leaders and allow just a few minutes before we conclude, maybe some 3 minutes for any reflection. Is there something that you want to re-echo? Maybe I've mentioned something and you may want to add your voice to it. Are you having a take home that you feel maybe you could also just be free to mention? So we could just share our thoughts even as we bring this to a close. And maybe just to ensure we are well guided, I could just mention, if I mention your name and you have something, just mention. If you don't have something, that is still okay. We could just move on to the next person. I would start with Christine. Christine, any comment you have? If you have a comment, feel free to share. If you don't have a comment for now, that's still okay. We'll move on to the next person. So Christine.
Thank you so much for the good facilitation. Mine is just a reflection of especially the eyes of leadership. I will take time to evaluate myself. Then probably in the next class, I will be able to share what I feel my scores are. I think that's my reflection point of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. Nancy, any reflection? Okay, then we have Michael. Michael, any reflection? How about Peter? The chat is also open. You could also use the chat as well. Peter, any reflection from the discussion? Yeah, the class is lively, more impactful. Looking forward to learn more. Thank you so much, Victor. Jacqueline, and reflection to share. How about Jerry Dhuku? Okay, how about Oliver? Yes, I can see, Peter, you're asking about any take-home activity from today's class. Yes, we're going to share. We're going to share this week update, and that will include the YouTube recording. It will also include the link to the self-evaluation, and also it will include the chapters that we're going to review this week. Yeah. So I think also, in case there is a question, also you can share the question so that we can respond as we close. Jacqueline, the class is informative, learning a lot. And Jerry, you're saying, wow, we are only on chapter 1. The work begins on Ernest. Thank you so much, Jerry. Oliver, wow, I'm learning and I expect to learn more. Thank you. Good. So we'll create a link. We'll send you a link. Just join. Probably, Christine, if you'd wish to be in the two groups, you are free to do that. Our WhatsApp group are normally moderated. We don't post so much. They are purely for the updates. So we receive very few updates from us. But in case there is a conversation for the group, which again relates to the class, we could have such kind of conversations in the groups. But I assure you they are well moderated. So no need to worry. I know what's happening with a lot of WhatsApp groups. So just be confident on that. Michael, you're saying I've enjoyed the session. So thank you so much, Michael, as well. So leaders, I think we'll bring this to a close for now. The class is recorded, so you can go through these discussions again. Just listen to what we have discussed again. Maybe if you missed out something from the recording, you can be able to pick that what you might have missed in the course of our discussion. Otherwise, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to work together with you. And week 1 is already gone, so we've been talking about 12 weeks. So from now, we started talking about 11 weeks. And we'll share more updates on the WhatsApp group as we continue. So I want to say thank you, and maybe we could just conclude with a word of prayer as we even pray for the night ahead. God, thank you for the conversation we have had tonight. We thank you that been able to have this kind of a talk, this kind of a talk together as leaders, and just how to enrich our leadership. Thank you for the engagements that we have had, the commitments that we have made, the reflection that we have had tonight. Our prayer is that whatever we are experiencing here in terms of the learning, we trust you that will help us, give us the enablement to be able to walk this journey, and very important, to be able to reflect the kind of leadership that glorifies you. We pray even as we adjourn and have a rest tonight. We commit ourselves to you and we pray for a blessed night. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Leaders, I want to say thank you so much, and I wish you all a blessed night, and see you again on Saturday. Thank you and have a blessed night.